Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, December 13th. It's 9:07, and we are back for Back to Basics, Anchor Your Week. This is week number 10. So excited to be here with you this morning. I'm glad that you're tuning in, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching from YouTube or listening to the podcast channel. We welcome you, and we're so glad that you're here with us. This morning is pivotal for Back to Basics. Remember, the whole purpose of this series, these conversations have been, how do we get back to basics in our business? And you may be completely new to real estate. You may have been in real estate for 5 years, 10 years, but at some point, if you find yourself struggling, whether you're new or you've been in the business, you can always go back to the basics. You can go back to the foundation that has brought you success. And that's the whole purpose of this series. And so today I have the privilege and honor of sharing. And I was like, what do we do? Where do we go? And I felt like we needed to talk about the fortune is in the follow-up. So the fortune is in the follow-up. If you've been around me for any amount of time, you will have heard me say that. The fortune is in the follow-up. I heard that, I think it was somewhere around 2015. My wife was doing an MLM and she was watching a coach, a trainer, mentor, whatever you want to call it. And he said that. He said the fortune's in the follow-up. And, it just clicked for me. I just grabbed that. For some reason, I grabbed onto that and I've never let go. Now, there have been points where I've been holding on with my fingertips and barely holding on to following up and finding that fortune. But if you haven't done that, or if you haven't, maybe you've done it really well for a short period of time, I'm going to challenge you today to return to that mindset, to return to following up with people, because that is where the fortune is. So let me break it down for you. If you know my history, you know that I've started with an independent brokerage. I then transitioned to a big box brokerage, Keller Williams, and then I was with Georgia's Finest, and then with Anchor. One of the things that I learned during my time at Keller Williams was they teach their agents that they are supposed to have 33 touches in 1 year. 33 touches. Now, you may be asking, well, what is a touch? 33. You may automatically feel overwhelmed. You may feel a sense of, in your heart, or takes your breath away a little bit. Maybe your stomach drops. But 33 touches in 1 calendar year. So breaking that elephant down is 1 touch every 1.5 weeks, or 10 to 12 days. So what is a touch? Now, this is for your sphere, by the way. I probably should elaborate. So 33 touches for your sphere, your sphere of influence, your family, your close friends, and anybody that's on your social media, right? So that's your immediate sphere. You have contact with them. You may not have talked to somebody on Facebook for a while. Maybe you haven't seen somebody in person, but you've commented on their things, or their posts on Facebook. Maybe you wish them happy birthday, those type of things. This is specifically for your sphere to build a referral-based business. Again, I can talk about this because this is how I built my business. If you want to mimic me, if you want to surpass me, do this and do it better. Okay. So what is a touch? It's a call, a text, email. Could be commenting on someone's Facebook post, video messaging, snail mail, birthdays, and holidays. So those were just some of the quick notes that I jotted down to be considered a touch. Now, remember, for the sphere 33, for somebody that maybe you're working some online leads, maybe you're doing a mailing campaign to a neighborhood, maybe you're farming. Let me tell you some statistics that a marketing company discovered. Okay, so bear with me, and I can put all of this online if you desire that. So 2% of responses come from one contact, your first contact, 2%. So let's put that in layman's terms. You get a lead, you call, you have a 2% opportunity to get a response from that. Maybe it's a mailer. Hey, I just listed or under contract. That would be one touch. 2% would respond to that. So it goes up 1% to 3, total of 3% for your second contact. 5% of responses come from your third contact. 10% of your responses come from your fourth contact, and 80% of responses come from the 5th to the 12th contact. Okay, so we've switched from sphere to now we are going out and we are prospecting, which is our number one job as an independent contractor, as a real estate agent. But remember, it could be insurance, it could be mortgages, it could be selling roofs, whatever job, whatever occupation line of work that you're in. Think about that. 80% of your responses come from your 5th through the 12th contact. So if you're paying for online leads right now, how many of you could honestly raise your hand and say, Cody, I've contacted somebody 3 times, but then I gave up because I got discouraged, or they didn't answer, or I didn't want to be a bother. But look at where the numbers are. The numbers don't lie. 80%, 5 through 12 touches. Okay. So you have to, when we're thinking about touches, you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional. Just like you're intentional about acquiring new clients, this takes just as much intention. So what does intentional mean? Map it out. You've got to map out your success. Once you build your plan for how you're going to touch your people, that plan will make it easier on you. You're breaking down the elephant, right? 33 touches, that's a lot of touches. How am I going to touch someone every 10 to 12 days? Well, you don't have to do it all by yourself, right? We can automate things. We can use our CRM, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. But don't be overwhelmed by this huge elephant, right? Just like when you sit down with me or when you sit down with Brian and we're going to map out your goals for 2022, we take this big elephant, 4 million, 5 million, 10 million, 15 million, whatever your real estate goal is. And we're going to break that up into bite-sized pieces, because you can't eat an elephant whole, but you sure can chew on the leg and the ear and the trunk and the hindquarters. Makes it a little bit more palatable. But you have to be intentional. You've got to map it out. You've got to build out a schedule. And guess what? So I'm going to provide this to our agents. I've got a whole schedule for you. I'm going to post it in our private group. But if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening to the podcast, send us a message and I'll be happy to share out how to map out your 33 touch system. One of the things that we're going to talk about today, your cell phone. Okay. How many people have a cell phone? Everybody has a cell phone, right? How many people take your cell phone everywhere you go? Okay. Everybody does, right? And so this right here, and I've been working in coaching, mentoring some agents, and a lot of the agents are not using one of the greatest tools that you will ever have in your tool belt, which is your cell phone. So how many of you could answer it truthfully that you use your cell phone for all the abilities or all the capabilities that you can have, right? I can't even do that, right? There's things that I need to do to implement that's going to help me grow the business. But one of the first things that I want to tell you is reminders. Okay, so every single person, whether you're on Android or iPhone, you have a reminders app on your phone. You don't need to go and pay for other websites like Monday.com. I'm not bashing Monday.com, but that they break out the schedule, right? So reminders are going to help you stay in touch with your sphere and stay in touch with your potential clients. And it's as simple, if you have it set up, you could say, hey, Siri, remind me at 9 a.m. tomorrow to send Brian an email. And your phone will automatically do that for you. So as you're driving down the road, maybe you just got off the phone with Brian and Brian says, hey, I want you to call me tomorrow at 9 a.m. and we'll talk, right? Because remember, we've got to go back to that 5th through the 12th contact. So this may have been my 6th contact with Brian, and he says, well, I'm busy right now, call me at 9. Well, if you're driving, are you going to be irresponsible and try to text a reminder? No, use your technology. Use your technology, use the tool to benefit you. Another thing that I do is use your calendar. Use your calendar to help you stay organized. Use your calendar to time block when you're working on your touches. It would be a great idea to go ahead and you can wrap your touches into prospecting, right? Isn't touches prospecting? You can. So maybe your schedule looks like 8:30 to 10:30. I'm prospecting, which means I'm going to start working on my touches. I'm going to start reaching out. This week, maybe text messages. The next week, it may be phone calls. The following week, it may be an email or a newsletter. The following week, it may be a video. Hey, I just wanted to check in and see how you're doing. It's a beautiful day, right? So you have the ability and an incredible tool in your hands that go with you everywhere you go. There's no excuse for you not to be organized and for you not to use this tool. Okay. The second thing that's really going to help you with your touches is using a CRM. Now, if you're with Anchor, you've got a CRM provided to you at no cost to you. I am not charging our agents any money for our CRM. And I realize that we need more CRM training. We're going to do that whenever we launch our office and when we open our office. So I know that there's a gap there, but there is a CRM that you have access to that you can put your clients in, and you can put them on a drip campaign to touch them at least 12 times a year for the holidays. That's 12 touches down, right? Now you only have 21 more touches just based on holidays. The CRM will also tell you when was the last time that you touched somebody. You could build out an appointment in there. You could also jot down notes. Maybe you called Cindy and you had a great conversation with Cindy because this was her week to be for a phone call, and you had a great conversation and Cindy says, hey, actually, my neighbor up the road, she's thinking about selling. Can I give her your phone number? That is how you prospect. That is where the fortune is. But if you're not doing it, how can you find the fortune? And whose fault does it really fall on? It falls on us, right? I am no different than you guys. I have to continue to grow my business, and that's going to be continuing to grow Anchor and my personal business, but it is on us. So if we are not achieving the results that we desire, we need to do something different. And I promise you that if you will do this, if you'll start implementing the things that we're talking about, your business will boom. It'll explode. Another thing that you can help with is, we already touched on this, but time block it. You build out your schedule. And I've talked about this, and Brian has coached, in the last 3 months with these agents, is you have to build out your schedule. You have to build out time to work in your business. And again, the agents that have been with me since the beginning, you've heard me say this over and over and over again, because that's how important it is. If you don't have time to work on your business or to work in your business, how do you expect your business to grow? If I desire to work out and to get stronger mentally and physically, if I don't commit to time in my schedule to working out, how am I going to get stronger? And vice versa. If I don't commit to working on my business, how is my business going to grow? And only you can grow your business. I can't do it for you. Brian can't do it for you. Elliot can't do it for you. Nobody else can grow your business but you. That's it. I wanted to throw a funny in here for you. Okay. The whole purpose, and I want you to think about this, right? So the next time you hear this movie or watch this movie or hear this quote, I I pray that it sparks a reminder of what we're covering today. Okay, so this quote popped in my mind. You're going to laugh at me. It's okay. If you ain't first, you're last. Quoted by Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first, you're last. Because if you are not staying top of mind, you're last. They will use somebody else and they won't think twice about it, because they won't remember. They won't know that you're in real estate. They won't know that you're in roofing. They won't know that you're in home inspections, life insurance. They won't know if you don't stay top of mind. And that's where that follow-up comes from. That's where the fortune is found, because I am consistently and constantly staying in front of my competitors and staying in front of my sphere. That's how I built my business. That's literally what I've done. I'm giving you the secret to my success, but I can't do it for you. I can only show you the path. I can only say, this is how I got here. There's potholes that I had to go through. I had to figure out how to do this. But if you will listen to this and you will start today, not start in 2022. Don't wait until January 1st. Are you kidding me? Start right now. This is the perfect time for you to start your touches. You've got Christmas coming up. I've already received a Christmas card from Brian and from Will Taylor. Will Taylor's Christmas card was first to be hung up in our house. That's a touch. That's a, oh man, I get to see Will. I get to see his family. Oh, he's got Anchor on there. Oh, he's in real estate, right? And guess what? He could follow up and say, hey, Cody, I just wanted to make sure my Christmas card got there. I know that the mail has been running behind. That's a touch. Will, it was so great to see your family. You have a beautiful family. You're in real estate. It's not hard. It's simple. It's simple, but it's not easy. It takes effort. And the challenge that I want to push you, especially coming into this holiday season, this Christmas season, the new year, to be intentional. Intentional touches. What would you like to receive? Don't send people garbage. Don't send people the generic canned bag, box, and can that everyone else is doing, because you're going to get the results that everyone else is getting. But be intentional. Send somebody a video message and say, hey, Brian, I just want to reach out and wish your family a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. And listen, I'll send you an example. I'll put it in All Stars. And if you're listening to the podcast or the YouTube and you want the example that I'm going to send out, send me a message. But simple as, hey, want to wish you Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, New Year, whatever. And then share your goals with your sphere, right? So, well, you may feel uncomfortable. I don't want to share that I want to do 15 million next year, or I desire to help 60 families through real estate. I don't want to share that. What happens if I don't get it? What happens if you do? What happens when you put your goals out in front of people? When you bring life to your goal, you speak life over your goal. Now you're opening yourself up for accountability. Now you're opening yourself up to continue to push, to not pull your foot off of the gas pedal, to not put your foot on the brake, but to keep pushing. I want to serve 60 families. I desire to serve 60 families. I desire to close 12 or $15 million in real estate. But how am I going to do that if I don't start telling people about my goals? So build that in to your touch. And maybe it's that video. Maybe it's, hey, Merry Christmas. I wanted to let you know also that this is my goal for next year. And I would love to have any referral, or if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Now, again, I'm going to show you the video. I'm just giving some small tidbits. I want you to do it, but I also want you to reach out. Who is going to commit to that, right? And then Christmas cards. Now, listen, it's December 13th, Okay. So Christmas cards, the reality of that happening, unless you're putting it in the mail today, it's probably going to be a late touch. But guess what? Is a late touch better than no touch? It is. A late touch is better than no touch. So if you haven't done a Christmas card yet, don't feel pressure, don't feel shame, don't feel condemnation. Go out to Walmart, go to the dollar store, get a Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas card, and you handwrite and sign every card, and you put every client that you closed this year, you put your sphere in your Google Drive or your spreadsheet, whatever, and you build out your Christmas list. My Christmas list has grown and expanded since I started doing that in 2017. I'm up to 125 personal business client relationship Christmas cards that I'll be sending out. Now, that's not everybody that I've closed, because some people don't get a Christmas card. They don't get a personalized Christmas card. I might, do a text message or an email. But I want to challenge you. So who is willing to commit to doing that? Who is willing to go the extra mile where it is, I promise you, it is not crowded. The extra mile is not crowded. But will you commit to yourself? You're not committing to me. You're committing to yourself. Will you commit to yourself that I'm going to be intentional, and I'm going to use this holiday season, I'm going to use Christmas as an opportunity to touch people in my sphere. I'm going to use New Year's Eve and New Year's Day as an opportunity to touch my sphere. I'm going to use MLK Day. I'm going to use President's Day. I'm going to use Valentine's Day. Guys, it's all right there in front of us. But will you commit to yourself? Will you commit to finding the fortune in the follow-up? And if you will, make sure that you let me know, because I would love to be held accountable. This is what I'm doing. I'm telling you what I'm doing. So who's willing to do it with me? Who's willing to lock arms and say, hey, if Cody's doing it, he's still doing it, I should probably lock arms with him. The more people that we have locked arms, the more accountable that we're going to be held. And the more accountable that we're going to be held, the better results that we're going to get. Hear me. Find somebody. If it's not me, find somebody. Audrey and Cindy, link up. Brian and Will, link up. Say, this is what I'm doing. Come up with a plan together. It's always better together. It is. And you have accountability built in, and you have someone pushing you. You have someone pulling you when you need to be pulled, and you have someone running with you when you're ready to run. But implement this today. Take it back to the basics. Find the fortune in the follow-up. Thank you so much for being here. I trust that this helps you. And stay tuned. We will be live for our last Anchor Your Week Back to Basics series next Monday. So 20th. We're going to have Hannah Branham back on as she teaches us how to stay organized through 145 plus transactions this year. So thank you so much for being here. You have a blessed week, and we will see you soon.